So far in the story, we've seen Ebenezer Scrooge affected by the things that he saw. His eyes have been opened by the sins of his past, where they led his partner Jacob Marley, the loss of the love of his life, the pain caused to the Cratchit family. Charles Dickens is showing the wealthy aristocrats of the time, if they would just open their eyes and see the pain that's being caused and the help that they could be giving. And now we've seen this huge transformation of him. He's determined to live better from this moment on. So here's Stave 5. It's called The End of It. Profound, right? The end of it. Yes, and the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiest of all, time before him was his own to make amends in. I will live in the past, the present, and the future, Scrooge repeated as he scrambled out of bed. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven and the Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees, old Jacob, on my knees. His face was wet with tears. They are not torn down, cried Scrooge, folding one of his bed curtains in his arm. They are not torn down, rings and all. They are here. I am here. The shadows of things that would have been may be dispelled. They will be. I know they will be. I don't know what to do, cried Scrooge, laughing and crying in the same breath. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as happy as an angel. Knowing that that weight of sin and greed and anger has been lifted from him. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. I'm as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world. He had frisked into the sitting room and was now standing there perfectly witted. There's the door. The door by which the ghost of Jacob Marley entered, cried Scrooge, starting off again and going round the fireplace. There's the corner where the ghost of Christmas presents sat, and there's the window where I saw the wandering spirits. It's all right. It's all true. It all happened. Oh, it's going a little bit crazy. Really, for a man who had been out of practice for many years, it was a splendid laugh. I don't know what day of the month it is, said Scrooge. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. Never mind, I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. The churches began ringing out the lustiest peals he had ever heard. Clash, clang, hammer, ding, dong, bell. Oh, glorious, glorious. Running to the window, he opened it and put out his head. No fog, no mist, clear, bright, cold, golden sunlight. Remember that light representing hope? Heavenly skies, sweet fresh air, merry bells. Oh, glorious, glorious. Fog is also a representation of things being cloudy or uncertain, but now the fog is lifted and the future is more certain. He's taking control of it here. What's today? Cried Scrooge, calling downward to a boy in his Sunday clothes. Eh? Returned the boy. What's today, my fine fellow? Said Scrooge. Today? Replied the boy. Why, it's Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day, said Scrooge to himself. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. Oh, they can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow. Hello, returned the boy. Do you know the poultry shop in the next street at the corner? Scrooge inquired. I should hope I did, replied the lad. An intelligent boy, said Scrooge. A remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up in there? Not the little prize, the big one. What, the one as big as me? Returned the boy. What a delightful boy, said Scrooge. Yes, yes. Well, it's hanging there now, replied the boy. Is it? Said Scrooge. Go and buy it. What? Exclaimed the boy. I am in earnest, said Scrooge. Go and tell them to bring it here that I may give them the direction where to take it. Come back with the man and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes and I'll give you half a crown. That's even more money. The boy was off like a shot. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's, whispered Scrooge, rubbing his hands and splitting with a laugh. He shan't know who sends it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. He wrote the address somehow and went downstairs to open the street door, ready for the coming of the poulterer's man. And as he stood there waiting his arrival, the knocker caught his eyes. I shall love it as long as I live, cried Scrooge, petting it with his hand. It's a wonderful knocker. Here's the turkey. How are you? Merry Christmas. It was a turkey. Why, it's impossible to carry that to Camden Town, said Scrooge. You must have a cab. The chuckle with which he had said this, and the chuckle with which he had paid for the turkey, and the chuckle with which he paid for the cab, and the chuckle with which he recompensed the boy, were only to be exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat down breathless in his chair again and chuckled till he cried. He dressed himself, all in his best, and at last got out into the streets. The people were by this time pouring forth, that he had seen them with the ghosts of Christmas present, and Scrooge regarded every one of them with a delighted smile. 3 or 4 good-humored fellows said, "Good morning, sir. A Merry Christmas to you." And Scrooge said one afterwards, that of all the happy sounds he had ever heard, those were the happiest in his ears. He had not gone far when, coming on towards him, he beheld the gentleman who had walked into his counting-house the day before. It sent a pang across his heart to think how this old gentleman would look upon him when he met. But he knew what path lay straight before him, and he took it. So he knew there was going to be this judgment because he had been so awful, but he went on anyway to fix it. "My dear sir," said Scrooge, quickening his pace and taking the old gentleman by both his hands, "how do you do? I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. A Merry Christmas to you, sir. Allow me to ask your pardon, and will you have the goodness to allow me to give you—" Here Scrooge whispered in his ear. "Lord bless me," said Scrooge, "not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you. Will you do me that favor?" "My dear sir," said the other, shaking hands with him, I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything, please," retorted Scrooge. "Will you come and see me?" "I will," cried the old gentleman, and it was clear he meant to do it. So he's saying he's paying off all their debt. "Thank you," said Scrooge. "I'm much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times. Bless you." He went to church and walked about the streets and watched the people hurrying to and fro and patted children on the head and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that anything could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps toward his nephew's house. He passed the door a dozen times before he had the courage to go up and knock, but he made a dash and did it. "Is your master at home, my dear?" said Scrooge to the girl. "Yes, sir." "Where is he, my love?" said Scrooge. "He's in the dining room, sir, along with his mistress. I'll show you upstairs, if you please." "He knows me," said Scrooge, with his hand already on the dining room lock. "I'll go in here, my dear." "Fred," said Scrooge. "Why, bless my soul," cried Fred. "Who's that?" "It's I, your Uncle Scrooge. I've come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred?" "Let him in? It is a mercy he didn't shake his arm off. He was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be heartier. Wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful happiness." But he was early at the office the next morning. Oh, he was there early. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late, that was the thing he'd set his heart upon. And he did it. Yes, he did. The clock struck 9, no Bob. 1/4 past, no Bob. He was a full 18 minutes and a half behind his time. Scrooge sat with the door wide open that he might see him come into the tank. His hat was off before he opened the door. He was on his stool in a jiffy, driving away with his pen as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock. "Hello," growled Scrooge in his accustomed voice, as near as he could feign it. "What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?" "I'm very sorry, sir," said Bob. "I'm behind my time." "You are?" repeated Scrooge. "Yes, I think you are. Step this way, sir, if you please." "It's only once a year, sir," pleaded Bob, appearing from the tank. "It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir." "Now, I'll tell you what, my friend," said Scrooge. "I am not going to stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore," he continued, "and therefore, I'm about to raise your salary." Bob trembled. He had a momentary idea of knocking Scrooge down, holding him, and calling to the people in the court for help and a straight waistcoat, saying, "He's gone crazy." "A Merry Christmas, Bob," said Scrooge, with the earnestness that could not be mistaken, as he clapped him on the back. "A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon, Bob. Make up the fires and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit." Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became a good friend, as good a master, and as good a man, as good as the city ever knew, and any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further meetings with spirits ever afterwards, and it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. It's never too late. It's never too late to change. It's never too late to do good. It's never too late to help others. I hope you enjoyed that story. We're going to be doing an escape room based upon it on Friday. I hope you come and join us, and we'll have a little bit of fun together. Merry Christmas.